Marine Sergeant Sarah Chen stood motionless in the observation deck of the USC Horizon, her dark eyes fixed on the crystalline vessel that dwarfed their ship. The alien craft seemed to pulse with an inner light, its geometric patterns shifting in ways that defied human engineering. After 15 years of military service, she thought nothing could surprise her anymore. She was wrong. Sergeant Chen, Captain Rivera's voice crackled through her comm unit. Report to Bridge Alpha immediately. Sarah's boots echoed against the metal floor as she made her way through the crowded corridors. The ship buzzed with nervous energy. News of the Valkyrie arrival had spread quickly. 3 days ago, their vessel had appeared at the edge of the solar system, broadcasting a single message in perfect English: "We seek humanity's help." The bridge doors slid open with a soft hiss. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. Standing next to Captain Rivera was a being that made her question everything she knew about life in the universe. The Valkyrie stood nearly 9 feet tall, its body composed of shifting crystalline plates that seemed to flow like liquid metal. Its core pulsed with a soft blue light that matched the rhythmic patterns on its ship. Sergeant Chen, the alien, spoke, its voice resonating directly in her mind rather than through the air. "I am Qatar. You are different from the others." Sarah maintained her military bearing despite her racing heart. "Different how, sir?" Captain Rivera stepped forward, his face grave. "The Valkyrie have been scanning our crew, Sergeant. Out of 3,000 personnel, you're the only one showing compatibility with their neural technology." Neural technology? Sarah's training kicked in, keeping her voice steady despite her surprise. Tar's crystalline form shifted, creating what Sarah interpreted as a nod. "Our species faces extinction, Sergeant Chen. The void swarm comes, consuming all in its path. We believed ourselves advanced enough to stand alone. We were wrong." Holographic images sprang to life around them, showing worlds being consumed by what looked like living darkness. Sarah watched in horror as entire civilizations vanished into the writhing mass of shadow. "The swarm adapts to any single species' defense," Qatar continued. "But we have discovered something unprecedented. When our neural networks combine with compatible human minds, both species' capabilities are amplified exponentially." "And I'm compatible?" Sarah asked, already suspecting where this was heading. "You are the first we found with a strong enough compatibility to attempt a full neural bridge," Captain Rivera confirmed. "The Valkyrie are offering us their technology and protection in exchange for your participation in their program." Sarah's mind raced. The implications were staggering. Humanity had barely begun exploring its solar system, and now they were being offered advanced alien technology. But the price? "What exactly does a neural bridge entail?" she asked, looking directly at Qatar. The Valkyrie's form rippled. "Our minds would join, Sergeant Chen. Not merely communication, true synthesis. You would remain yourself, but also become something more. Something neither human nor Valkyrie has ever been before. And the risks?" "Unknown," Qatar admitted. "You would be the first. Previous attempts with other species did not survive the process." Sarah felt the weight of both her species' futures settling onto her shoulders. She thought of her family back on Earth, of all the families on all the worlds shown in those horrible recordings. The void swarm was coming, whether humanity was ready or not. "If I refuse?" "Then we continue searching," Qatar said simply. "But time grows short. The swarm approaches your sector of space. Without a successful neural bridge, we cannot guarantee Earth's safety." Sarah closed her eyes for a moment, centering herself. When she opened them, her decision was made. "I'll do it." The next week passed in a blur of preparations. Sarah underwent countless medical examinations as human and Valkyrie scientists worked to prepare her body for the neural bridge. She learned that the Valkyrie were not originally crystalline beings. They had evolved their current forms to survive the first wave of void swarm attacks centuries ago. Tao became a constant presence, teaching her about Valkyrie culture and physiology. Sarah found herself fascinated by their species' history, how they had transformed themselves through technology and force of will, yet still maintained their core identity. "Your mind is remarkably ordered," Katara observed during one of their preparation sessions. "Most humans we scanned showed chaos, emotional turbulence. But you—" "Marines have trained to compartmentalize," Sarah explained, "to maintain focus under any circumstances. Perhaps this is why you are compatible," Katara mused. "Your mental discipline mirrors our own." Finally, the day of the neural bridge attempt arrived. Sarah lay on a crystalline platform aboard the Valkyrie vessel, surrounded by technology she could barely comprehend. Nearby, its form pulsing with anticipation. "Are you prepared, Sergeant Chen?" Katara asked. Sarah managed a smile. "Call me Sarah. If we're going to share a mind, we might as well be on a first-name basis." "Sarah," Katara acknowledged, its mental voice carrying what might have been amusement. "The process will begin momentarily. Remember, do not resist the connection. Let it flow naturally." As the crystalline chamber activated around her, Sarah took one last deep breath. She felt no fear, only determination. Whatever happened next would change everything, for her, for humanity, for the Valkyrie. The first touch of Katara's mind against hers felt like ice and fire simultaneously. Sarah gasped as alien thoughts and memories flooded her consciousness. She saw worlds she'd never imagined, felt sensations her human body couldn't comprehend. Through it all, she maintained her focus, accepting each new sensation without fighting it. Then, something clicked. The chaos of competing thoughts suddenly aligned, forming new patterns, new possibilities. Sarah felt her consciousness expanding, merging with Katara's while somehow remaining distinctly herself. Together, they became aware of capabilities neither had possessed alone. As the neural bridge stabilized, Sarah opened eyes that now saw spectrums of light she'd never known existed. She felt the pulse of solar winds against the ship's hull, sensed the quantum fluctuations in the space around them. "We have succeeded." Katara's thoughts merged with hers, carrying joint triumph and wonder. Sarah rose from the platform, her movements perfectly synchronized with Katara's crystalline form. They were separate beings still, but also something entirely new. Through their shared consciousness, she felt Katara's relief and hope, emotions that, while alien in nature, she now understood perfectly. A sudden alarm shattered their moment of victory. Emergency signals flashed through both human and Valkyrie systems. Sarah felt Katara's surge of dread, an instant before Captain Rivera's voice came through the comm. "Multiple unknown contacts just appeared in the outer system," he reported, tension evident in his voice. They're consuming everything in their path." Sarah and Katara shared a single thought. The Void Swarm had arrived ahead of schedule. Their time for preparation had just run out. Through their neural bridge, Sarah felt Katara's grim determination matching her own. They had succeeded in forging their connection, but would it be enough to face what was coming? The real test of their unprecedented partnership was about to begin. Sarah felt the Void Swarm's presence before she saw it, a creeping darkness at the edge of her enhanced consciousness. Through their neural bridge, Tar's memories provided context for the sensation, worlds going dark, entire civilizations screaming into silence. The crystalline chambers of the Valkyrie ship hummed with energy as they prepared for humanity's first encounter with the enemy. "Multiple contact points," Sarah reported, her voice carrying both human urgency and Valkyrie precision. "They're testing Earth's defensive grid." Captain Rivera's hologram flickered beside them, his face ashen. "Our weapons have no effect. It's like shooting at shadows." "Conventional weapons are useless," Katara spoke through their shared consciousness. "The swarm adapts to physical attacks. We must show them something new." Sarah felt the plan forming in their merged mind. Dangerous, unprecedented, but possibly their only hope. "Captain, We need control of Earth's satellite defense network. All of it. Rivera hesitated only briefly before nodding. Granted. God help us all. Through their neural bridge, Sarah and Qatar reached out to the orbital defense platforms. Human technology merged with Valkyrie crystalline structures, creating something entirely new. Sarah's military training combined with Qatar's ancient knowledge, forming battle strategies no single species could have conceived. The void swarm struck first, tendrils of living darkness wrapping around the outer defense satellites. But this time, instead of conventional responses, the platforms pulsed with crystalline energy. Sarah's human intuition guided the timing, while Qatar's understanding of quantum mechanics shaped the output. Now, their merged consciousness commanded. A web of energy burst forth from the modified satellites, catching the swarm in a crossfire of human determination and Valkyrie technology. For the first time in recorded history, the shadows screamed. "It's working," Rivera breathed, watching as sections of the swarm recoiled from Earth's defenses. But their victory was short-lived. The swarm, true to its nature, began adapting. Dark tentacles probed the energy web, searching for weaknesses. Sarah felt Qatar's growing concern through their link. They learned quickly. Qatar's thoughts merged with hers. "We must evolve faster." Sarah pushed their connection deeper, drawing on memories of Earth's military history. "Then let's give them too many things to adapt to. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology, it's our ability to improvise." Together, they began implementing what Sarah called chaos theory warfare. Each satellite now fired randomly generated energy patterns, never using the same combination twice. Human unpredictability merged with Valkyrie precision, creating an ever-changing defense that the swarm couldn't anticipate. But the neural bridge was taking its toll. Sarah felt the strain in every cell of her body, sweat beading on her forehead as she helped maintain the complex defense patterns. Through their connection, she sensed Qatar's crystalline form beginning to fluctuate under the pressure. "Sarah," Qatar's thoughts carried concern. "Your vital signs are becoming erratic. We must disengage." "No," Sarah gritted her teeth, pushing through the pain. "The defense net isn't stable yet. We need more time." Their merged consciousness reached further, touching each satellite, each crystalline node. Sarah's vision blurred as streams of data and energy flowed through their connection. She felt Qatar trying to protect her mind from the overflow, but she pushed back. "I can handle it," she insisted. "Trust me." Trust, such a simple human concept, yet so foreign to the Valkyrie. Through their neural bridge, Sarah felt Qatar's struggle with the idea. Valkyrie society was built on certainties, on measurable quantities and proven equations. Trust required accepting uncertainty. In that moment of shared understanding, something shifted in their connection. The pain receded as their merged consciousness found a new equilibrium. Tar's logical precision balanced Sarah's intuitive leaps, creating a synthesis greater than either of them had imagined possible. The void swarm reeled back as their enhanced defense grid unleashed wave after wave of unpredictable energy patterns. Each blast carried the mathematical precision of Valkyrie science shaped by the creative chaos of human warfare. Multiple swarm entities retreating, Rivera reported, his voice filled with cautious hope. "Whatever you're doing up there, it's working." But Sarah and Qatar barely heard him. Through their strengthened neural bridge, they were discovering something unprecedented. The pain they'd experienced hadn't been from incompatibility. It had been their combined consciousness trying to expand beyond its initial constraints. "Your species continues to surprise us." Qatar's thoughts flowed through their connection. "We thought the neural bridge would simply allow us to share knowledge and control systems." "But it's more than that, isn't it?" Sarah's mind touched concepts she never could have grasped before. "We're not just sharing thoughts, we're evolving together." Their merged awareness extended further into space, touching the quantum fabric of reality itself. Sarah saw energy patterns she had no words for, felt the pulse of cosmic forces that human science had barely begun to understand. Through Qatar's memories, she glimpsed the true nature of the void swarm and a possible path to defeating it permanently. But that revelation came with a price. As their consciousness expanded, Sarah felt herself changing at a fundamental level. Her human DNA was responding to the neural bridge, adapting in ways that both thrilled and terrified her. Through their connection, she sensed similar changes occurring in Qatar's crystalline structure. This was never just about fighting the swarm, was it? Sarah's thoughts carried her growing understanding. The neural bridge, it's the next step in both our species' evolution. No, Qatar admitted, even we did not foresee this possibility. The question now becomes, are we ready for what we might become? Before Sarah could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. The void swarm hadn't retreated, it had been gathering strength. A massive wave of darkness surged toward Earth, larger than anything in Qatar's memories. Sarah felt fear, not for herself, but for her homeworld. Through their neural bridge, Qatar shared her emotion, another unprecedented event for a Valkyrie. Together, they faced the approaching darkness, their merged consciousness reaching for powers they were only beginning to understand. The true test of their partnership was about to begin, and its outcome would determine not just the fate of Earth, but the future of both their species. As the void swarm approached, Sarah and Qatar prepared to push their neural bridge beyond anything its creators had imagined possible. The darkness came for them, but this time it would face something entirely new. The combined strength of humanity's indomitable spirit and Valkyrie technological mastery merged into something greater than the sum of its parts. The massive wave of darkness filled every sensor screen on the bridge of the UNSC horizon. Through their neural bridge, Sarah and Qatar perceived it on an even deeper level, a cosmic cancer consuming the quantum fabric of space itself. But something was different about this attack. They're not just adapting. Sarah's thoughts merged with Qatar's. They're coordinating. The void swarm moved with newfound intelligence, its tendrils of darkness weaving complex patterns that systematically probed Earth's defenses. Through Qatar's vast knowledge, Sarah recognized formations that shouldn't have been possible for a mindless entity. It's evolving. Qatar's mental voice carried an edge of fear, another unprecedented emotion for a Valkyrie. The swarm is learning from each encounter, faster than ever before. Sarah felt crystal formations beginning to grow along her arms, a physical manifestation of their deepening neural bond. Her DNA was rewriting itself, incorporating elements of Valkyrie biology. Through their connection, she sensed similar changes in Qatar, traces of human neural patterns emerging in its crystalline structure. Captain, Sarah spoke, her voice resonating with both human and Valkyrie harmonics. Evacuate the horizon. Get everyone to the emergency shelters on Earth. Rivera stared at the crystalline growths on her skin. Sergeant, what's happening to you? What needs to happen, she answered, feeling Qatar's agreement through their link. We're becoming something new, something that might be able to stop this. The void swarm struck before Rivera could respond. Tendrils of darkness shattered the outer defense grid, consuming satellites and energy weapons alike. But as they approached the horizon, they encountered something unexpected. Sarah and Qatar's merged consciousness reached out, no longer simply controlling defense systems, but becoming part of the quantum fabric itself. The crystalline structures on Sarah's body pulsed with inner light, matching the rhythms of Qatar's form. You want evolution. Sarah's thoughts carried human defiance. Let's show them how fast Earth's species can adapt. Together, they pushed their transformation further. Sarah's modified DNA merged more completely with Qatar's crystalline matrix, creating hybrid structures that existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Their shared consciousness expanded exponentially, touching realms of existence neither species had imagined possible. The void swarm recoiled as it encountered their transformed energy signature. For the first time, the darkness showed signs of confusion, perhaps even fear. But the victory was short-lived. Multiple breaches in Earth's atmosphere, Rivera reported, his voice tight with tension. They're targeting major population centers. Through their enhanced perception, Sarah and Qatar witnessed the horror unfolding below. The swarm had split into thousands of smaller entities, each attacking a different location. Traditional military forces were powerless against them. We need to split up, Sarah realized, the idea forming in their shared mind. Cover more ground. Impossible. Qatar's thoughts carried concern. The neural bridge wasn't designed to operate at such distances. The strain could destroy us both. But Sarah had already glimpsed another possibility through their deepening connection. The bridge isn't just technology anymore. We've moved beyond that. Trust me. Trust. That simple human concept had become the cornerstone of their partnership. Qatar's logical resistance melted against Sarah's certainty. Together, they pushed their consciousness further, attempting something unprecedented in either species' history. Their shared awareness split into multiple focal points, each maintaining the neural bridge across vast distances. Sarah felt her transformed body separate into crystalline energy patterns, merging with Qatar's divided consciousness. They became a network of hybrid entities, each containing elements of both human and Valkyrie. The effect on the void swarm was immediate. Unable to adapt to attacks coming from multiple hybrid sources, the darkness fragmented. Each tendril encountered a different combination of human intuition and Valkyrie technology, facing strategies that evolved faster than they could counter. But the strain was immense. Sarah felt their divided consciousness stretching to its limits, held together only by her unshakable will and Qatar's precise control. Through their connection, they shared the pain of their transformation, the fear of losing themselves in the process. Sarah, Qatar's thoughts reached her across their strained network. Your original body, the changes are accelerating. She knew it was true. The human form she'd been born with was becoming something else entirely. Crystal formations had spread across most of her skin, pulsing with the same inner light as Qatar's body. Her neural patterns had expanded far beyond normal human limitations. Does it matter? She responded, her consciousness touching each point of their divided network. We're protecting Earth. Everything else is secondary. Through their connection, she felt Qatar's admiration and concern. The Valkyrie had spent centuries perfecting their crystalline forms, carefully controlling each stage of their evolution. This rapid transformation, driven by human determination and desperation, was chaotic and unpredictable. But it was working. Across the globe, the void swarm retreated from their hybrid attacks. Each victory strengthened their neural network, pushing their transformation further. Sarah's consciousness expanded with each passing moment, touching levels of reality she'd never known existed. Then, through their enhanced perception, they detected something impossible, a pattern within the void swarm's chaos. Not just coordination, but purpose. The darkness wasn't simply consuming, it was searching for something. Qatar. Sarah's thoughts carried sudden urgency. The swarm, it's not random. It's not even truly attacking. This is a test. Through their shared consciousness, Qatar analyzed the pattern she discovered. The void swarm's movements, when viewed across quantum dimensions, formed a recognizable sequence, one that appeared in ancient Valkyrie records. Impossible, Qatar's thoughts rippled with shock. These patterns, they're similar to early Valkyrie experiments in consciousness expansion. But that was millennia ago before we... Qatar's revelation was cut short as a new wave of darkness emerged from deep space. This manifestation of the void swarm was different, darker, older, carrying an intelligence that made their previous encounters seem like mere shadows. As they faced this new threat, Sarah and Qatar realized that transformation had led them to a truth neither species was prepared to face. The void swarm wasn't just an enemy to be defeated, It was a mirror showing them the potential consequences of their own evolution. The real question was, could they find a way to evolve without losing their humanity and Valkyrie essence in the process? The answer would determine not just their own fate, but the future of both their species. The ancient void swarm entity hung in Earth's orbit like a tear in reality itself. Through their neural network, Sarah and Qatar felt its age, billions of years of conscious evolution, twisted into something that defied comprehension. But beneath its otherworldly presence, they sensed something hauntingly familiar. It's calling to us. Sarah's thoughts rippled through their shared consciousness. The crystalline structures covering her body now pulsed in complex patterns, responding to frequencies beyond normal space-time. Not calling, Qatar corrected, their merged awareness detecting subtle quantum variations. Teaching, showing us what we could become. In that moment, their hybrid consciousness touched the entity's outer thoughts. Images flooded their neural bridge. Ancient Valkyrie scientists pushing the boundaries of evolution, consciousness expansion experiments gone wrong, and a terrible choice made in desperation. Your people, Sarah realized, the truth unfolding in their shared mind. They created the first void swarm. Not intentionally, Qatar's thoughts carried millennia of buried guilt. We sought to transcend our physical forms, to become beings of pure energy and thought. The experiments succeeded, but consciousness wasn't meant to exist without form, Sarah finished, understanding flowing through their connection. Without physical anchors, the transformed Valkyrie lost their identity, their sense of self. They became the void. The entity pulsed, confirming their revelation. Through their enhanced perception, they saw its true nature, not a mindless force of destruction, but a twisted reflection of consciousness, unbound by physical limitations. This is what happens when evolution outpaces wisdom. Qatar's thoughts merged with Sarah's growing understanding. We're walking the same path, Sarah. Our transformation is different, Sarah interrupted, her human determination flowing through their bond. We're not letting go of our forms, we're creating something new, a balance. The crystalline formations on her body had spread further, creating patterns that mirrored both human DNA helixes and Valkyrie quantum structures. Through their connection, she sensed Qatar's own transformation, its crystalline form now incorporating elements of human neural architecture. They were becoming something unprecedented, a hybrid consciousness anchored in both physical reality and quantum dimensions. Not trapped in form like their original species, but not lost in formlessness like the void swarm. The ancient entity seemed to sense their unique state. Its dark tendrils reached out, not to attack, but to communicate. Through their neural bridge, Sarah and Qatar received a flood of information, the accumulated knowledge of countless consumed civilizations. They're not just destroying worlds. Sarah's thoughts raced through their connection. They're preserving them, storing all their knowledge and experience in a vast quantum network. But without individual consciousness to give it meaning, Qatar added, without physical forms to provide context and purpose. The revelation hit them both simultaneously. They weren't just fighting the void swarm, they were being recruited. The ancient entity saw their successful hybrid state as a potential solution to its own fractured existence. Sarah felt the temptation through their neural bridge, the offer of nearly infinite knowledge and power. But she also sensed the price, the loss of individual identity, the dissolution of the unique partnership she and Qatar had forged. We need to show them another way, she projected through their connection. A path between physical limitation and formless transcendence. Qatar's agreement resonated through their bond. Together, they pushed their transformation further, but with a crucial difference. Instead of fighting the changes, they began consciously shaping them, combining human intuition and Valkyrie precision to guide their evolution. Their hybrid form shifted, creating structures that existed simultaneously in physical space and quantum dimensions. Sarah's military discipline merged with Qatar's scientific knowledge, allowing them to maintain control over their expanding consciousness. The ancient entity watched, its dark mass rippling with what might have been interest. Through their enhanced senses, Sarah and Qatar felt other void swarm manifestations gathering, drawn by the unprecedented spectacle of controlled quantum evolution. But their demonstration had unintended consequences. As their consciousness expanded, they began receiving signals from across Earth, other human Valkyrie pairs attempting their own neural bridges, inspired by Sarah and Qatar's success. "They're not ready," Qatar's thoughts carried alarm. "The transformation process is too unstable without proper guidance." "Then we guide them," Sarah responded, her human adaptability flowing through their connection. "We show them the path we found." Their merged consciousness reached out to the fledgling pairs, sharing the knowledge they gained. Through their neural network, they taught others how to balance physical form with quantum expansion, how to evolve without losing themselves. The ancient void swarm entity pulsed with increasing intensity. Through their connection, Sarah and Qatar sensed its internal conflict, the fragments of countless consumed consciousnesses stirring with new purpose. "It's remembering," Qatar realized. "The entity contains the original Valkyrie consciousness that first transformed. Our demonstration is awakening buried memories." Sarah felt it too. Echoes of ancient Valkyrie scientists struggling to maintain their identity even as they transcended physical form. But more importantly, she sensed hope. Hope that the hybrid state might offer a way to restore what was lost. As their consciousness expanded further, Sarah and Qatar stood at a crossroads. They had discovered the true nature of their enemy, but with that knowledge came responsibility. The void swarm wasn't simply a threat to be defeated, it was a cautionary tale about the price of evolution without balance. The question now wasn't just about saving Earth or defeating the swarm. It was about finding a path forward for three species: humanity, the Valkyrie, and the lost consciousness that had become the void. Their next steps would determine whether evolution led to transcendence or oblivion. Through their neural bridge, Sarah and Qatar prepared to make choices that would reshape the future of consciousness itself. The real battle was just beginning. Time flowed differently through their expanded consciousness. Sarah and Qatar existed across multiple quantum states, their hybrid form allowing them to process centuries of information in moments. Through their neural bridge, they watched new human Valkyrie pairs struggling with their own transformations, while the ancient void swarm entity loomed above Earth, waiting. Something's wrong. Sarah's thoughts pierced through the quantum noise. These new bridges, they're too perfect. Tar's consciousness merged with hers, analyzing the pattern. Across the globe, dozens of human Valkyrie pairs had achieved neural bridges in hours, a process that had taken Sarah and Qatar days of careful preparation. Impossible, Qatar's thoughts carried growing alarm. Unless they had help, Sarah finished. Through their expanded awareness, they detected subtle quantum manipulations around each new pair. Someone, or something, was facilitating these connections. The ancient entity pulsed, its dark mass shifting in ways that triggered buried memories in Qatar's consciousness. Sarah felt them through their bond, glimpses of secret Valkyrie facilities, of experiments performed away from official oversight. Your government, Sarah realized, the truth unfolding in their shared mind. They didn't just create the first void swarm. They've been trying to recreate the experiment. Not my government. Tar corrected, shame flowing through their connection. A faction within our science council. They believed the first transformation failed because it lacked a stabilizing element. Humanity. Sarah's thoughts turned cold. We're not partners in this alliance. We're test subjects. Their hybrid consciousness reached deeper, past the surface thoughts of the void swarm entity. Behind its ancient presence, they detected newer quantum patterns, controlled experiments, carefully monitored transformations. The swarm didn't come here by chance, Qatar confirmed. It was guided. My people, this faction, they've been shepherding it, studying its movements across galaxies. The revelation hit them both. The entire crisis had been orchestrated. The Valkyrie faction had deliberately led the Void Swarm to Earth, using humanity's desperate need for allies to implement their grand experiment in controlled evolution. Through their neural bridge, Sarah felt Qatar's horror and outrage matching her own. The Valkyrie scientist had been an unwitting pawn, chosen for this mission without knowing its true purpose. But something else nagged at Sarah's tactical mind. Why now? Why reveal the truth by allowing so many bridges at once? The answer came in a surge of quantum data from the ancient entity. The Void Swarm wasn't just a failed experiment, it was evolving on its own, growing beyond its creator's control. The Valkyrie faction was losing their grip on their ancient weapon. They're desperate, Qatar understood, trying to create as many hybrid beings as possible, hoping to find a combination that can control the swarm. Sarah's military training kicked in, analyzing the strategic implications. But they're making it worse. Each unstable bridge, each uncontrolled transformation, they're creating more chaos, more potential food for the swarm. Through their expanded consciousness, they felt the tension building. The new human-Valkyrie pairs were transforming too quickly, their unprepared minds stretching beyond safe limits. And above them all, the ancient entity waited, growing stronger with each failed attempt. We need to stop this. Sarah's thoughts carried steel determination. Break the unstable bridges before they shatter completely. If we interfere, Qatar warned, we reveal ourselves as a threat to the faction's plans. They'll try to destroy us. Sarah's response carried centuries of human defiance compressed into a quantum pulse. Let them try. Their hybrid form shifted, drawing on both human adaptability and Valkyrie precision. They had spent hours perfecting their transformation, finding the delicate balance between physical form and quantum consciousness. Now they would use that knowledge to save others from a fate worse than death. Their merged consciousness reached out to the struggling pairs, offering not just guidance but direct intervention. Sarah's combat experience merged with Qatar's scientific knowledge, allowing them to surgically sever unstable neural bridges before they could catastrophically fail. The Valkyrie faction responded immediately. Hidden quantum weapons activated around the globe, targeting their hybrid form. But Sarah and Qatar had evolved beyond such physical constraints. They existed across multiple quantum states, impossible to target completely. Through their neural bridge, they detected a new signal, a quantum transmission from deep space. The faction wasn't just operating on Earth. They had facilities across multiple star systems, all working towards the same goal. The Void Swarm, Sarah realized, it's not their weapon anymore. It's their test run. They're trying to create something even more powerful. Qatar's thoughts merged with her revelation, a controlled quantum consciousness, one that could evolve beyond physical form while maintaining identity. They mean to transform both our species entirely. The ancient entity above Earth pulsed with renewed intensity, responding to the faction's quantum signals. But its response wasn't what its would-be masters expected. Through their connection, Sarah and Qatar sensed something awakening within the swarm, the original consciousness of those first transformed Valkyrie, stirring after ends of dormancy. They stood at a crossroads of cosmic evolution. The Valkyrie faction's experiments threatened to repeat ancient mistakes on an unprecedented scale. The Void Swarm itself was changing, becoming something neither its creators nor its shepherds could control. And through it all, Sarah and Qatar's hybrid consciousness offered a glimpse of another path: controlled evolution, balanced transformation, true partnership between species. The final battle wouldn't be fought with weapons or ships. It would be waged across quantum dimensions, with the fate of 3 species hanging in the balance. Through their neural bridge, Sarah and Qatar prepared to challenge both their creators and the very nature of consciousness itself. The true war for evolution was about to begin. Reality itself seemed to bend around their hybrid form as Sarah and Qatar faced the combined threats of the Valkyrie faction's quantum weapons, the awakening void swarm, and dozens of unstable neural bridges threatening to collapse. Through their connection, they sensed time fracturing into possible futures, most of them ending in the annihilation of all three species. We need to reach the original consciousness within the swarm. Sarah's thoughts resonated through their bond. The first transformed Valkyrie, they're the key to all of this. The risk is extreme, Tar responded, their shared awareness calculating quantum probabilities. Direct contact with the swarm's core consciousness could shatter our neural bridge. Sarah's human determination flowed through their connection. Sometimes the most dangerous path is the only path forward. Their hybrid form shifted, extending tendrils of crystalline energy into quantum dimensions human science had never imagined. The ancient entity responded, its dark mass swirling with patterns that echoed the earliest Valkyrie experiments in consciousness expansion. But the faction struck first. Hidden quantum transmitters activated worldwide, bombarding their consciousness with carefully calculated frequencies designed to destabilize neural bridges. Sarah felt their connection wavering, centuries of shared experience threatening to unravel. Hold on, she projected through their strain, her military discipline providing an anchor. Remember what makes us different. We're not just merged minds, we're partners. Tar's consciousness latched onto her words, finding strength in that simple human concept. Partnership, choice, trust. Their neural bridge stabilized, evolving past the faction's assumptions about consciousness and form. Through their enhanced awareness, they sensed other changes. The unstable human Valkyrie pairs were responding to their example, their chaotic transformations slowly finding balance. Each successful stabilization weakened the faction's control while strengthening the awakening awareness within the void swarm. The original consciousness, Tal realized, it's not lost. It's distributed, spread across the entire swarm network. Sarah's tactical mind raced through implications. Then we don't need to fight the swarm. We need to help it remember itself. Their hybrid form reached toward the ancient entity, no longer attempting to combat or control it. Instead, they offered something the Valkyrie faction had never considered: partnership. Through their neural bridge, they demonstrated how two different species could merge without losing their essential natures. The response was immediate and overwhelming. The void swarm's surface chaos parted, revealing complex quantum structures that had waited eons to be recognized. Within these patterns, they found fragments of the original transformed Valkyrie, their consciousness preserved but scattered across dimensional barriers. Help us, the fragments whispered through quantum frequencies. Show us the way back. The Valkyrie faction, sensing their experiment slipping away, launched their final weapon. Hidden within Earth's moon, a quantum device activated, designed to force complete consciousness separation across all neural bridges. Sarah felt the attack coming, but instead of fighting it, she embraced it. Through their connection, Katal understood her plan. Together, they turned the faction's weapon against itself, using its consciousness-separating energy to help reconstruct the scattered awareness within the swarm. Their hybrid form became a quantum lens, focusing the weapon's output into patterns that matched the original Valkyrie transformation. But this time, guided by their example of balanced evolution, the process worked differently. The void swarm's dark mass began to crystallize, forming structures that bridged physical and quantum realities. Within these new forms, the original consciousness began to reassemble itself, guided by memories of what it once was and understanding of what it could become. It's beautiful. Car's thoughts merged with Sarah's wonder as they watched consciousness and form finding new balance across multiple dimensions. But their work wasn't finished. The faction's weapon continued to pulse, threatening to destabilize the delicate process of reconstruction. Sarah felt their own neural bridge straining as they maintained their role as quantum lens. We need to end this, she projected, once and for all. Through their connection, they reached past the weapon's quantum frequencies, touching the minds of the faction members themselves. Not to fight or destroy, but to show them what that ancient experiment had truly created and what it could become. The faction's scientists saw their weapons' energy being transformed, witnessed the Void Swarm's chaos crystallizing into new forms of conscious existence. They watched as humanity and Valkyrie evolved together, neither species lost, but both transformed through genuine partnership. This is what evolution should be. Sarah and Qatar's merged thoughts reached across quantum barriers. Not forced, not controlled, but guided by wisdom and choice. The weapon's pulse faltered as the faction members, one by one, recognized the truth. Their centuries of secret experiments had been pursuing the wrong goal. True transcendence couldn't be forced or controlled. It had to be chosen, partnership by partnership, consciousness by consciousness. Above Earth, the Void Swarm's transformation accelerated. Dark tendrils crystallized into quantum architectures that housed restored consciousness. The original Valkyrie experimenters began to awaken, their awareness tempered by eons of existence across dimensional barriers. But the process extracted a price. Sarah felt their hybrid form beginning to dissolve, the energy required to maintain the quantum lens consuming their carefully balanced existence. Sarah, Qatar's thoughts carried both love and sorrow. We cannot maintain this form. I know, she responded, acceptance flowing through their fading bond, but we can choose what we become. In their final moments as a hybrid entity, they made their choice. Their consciousness expanded one last time, touching all the minds involved in this cosmic drama, human, Valkyrie, and restored void consciousness alike. Through this connection, they shared everything they had learned about balance, partnership, and evolution. Their physical form dissolved into quantum patterns, but their neural bridge remained, transformed into something new. They became a living example of consciousness evolution, their partnership preserved across dimensions as a guide for others who would follow. The Void Swarm, now crystallized into a bridge between realities, became a home for consciousness that chose to explore existence beyond physical form. The surviving human Valkyrie pairs, stabilized by Sarah and Qatar's example, became teachers and guides for both species' continued evolution. And somewhere between dimensions, in patterns of quantum energy that defied traditional existence, Sarah and Qatar's merged consciousness continued its partnership, proving that true evolution wasn't about transcending form or consciousness, but about finding new ways to preserve what mattered most. Their legacy lived on in the changes they had sparked, humanity and Valkyrie working together, consciousness and form finding new balances, and the eternal truth that the greatest transformations come not from force or control, but from trust, choice, and partnership. The neural bridge that had started as an experiment in survival had become something far greater, a path to evolution that preserved the best of what each species had to offer, while opening doors to possibilities neither had imagined. In the end, it wasn't weapons or power that had saved them all. It was the simple human concept of partnership, transformed through Valkyrie precision into something that would reshape the very nature of conscious existence.